Hey guys, NosferKitty here, and I'm back with more Reanimation scheme. We left off. We discovered Jory was at the headquarters. He has figured out somehow how to do magic just by reading the books that we had in our house. We still don't know how the hell he got here. And now he's refusing to leave. And we are left with the choice of whether or not to force him to leave, try to reason with him to get him to leave, or to just give the fuck up and let Sebastien deal with it. And I don't know if I want to do that. I'm gonna let Sebastien handle this. I feel like I'm gonna get in trouble. Also, I apologize for any gardening noises that may be in the background. It is Friday, and it is gardening day here at the apartment building. So, anyway. I exhale loudly, bringing my hands to my temples and rubbing in circles to try and keep the growing headache at bay. I don't want to deal with this anymore. I'll leave it to Sebastien to figure it out.
Right.
Fine. If you feel so strongly about it, I guess I'll discuss it with Sebastien first. Jory's face lights up even further, which, given how merry he always looks, I wouldn't have thought was possible.
Great!
Really? We're gonna have so much fun, Callie?
Well...
That wasn't exactly an agreement for you to stay. I only said I'd discuss it with Sebastien. And let him figure out what to do with you. But I keep that mental addition to myself instead of saying it out loud.
Perfect!
I'm sure he'll be on my side. We're great pals now, you see? Somehow I very much doubt that, but I don't have the heart to point out the harsh truth to him. As if dissatisfied by my lack of reaction, Jory pulls a funny face and cackles.
Get it?
Perfect! Because Sebastien is a cat? Oh, Sienna, not the terrible puns again. I'm suddenly regretting my decision to let him stay for the time being. Well, great to see you again, Callie, but I need to go now. We don't want to worry my new friends, eh? See you later, Callie. No, you can't go anywhere. You're see-through. Bro, you're see-through. Without waiting for my response, Jory opens the door and leaves. All the while whistling in an off-key tone. Bro, you can't leave. You're see-through. I can only sigh. Sienna, this is not the kind of break I want from work I wanted. Where is Sebastien, anyway? Why does he always disappear when one needs him? With another tired sigh, I, too, make my way out of the room to hunt down a certain cat familiar to take care of this mess. There's yarn on the floor! I'm crying! Nope, Act 3. I seem to start these at the weirdest parts, but that's okay. I jerk out of my sleep with a small gasp, my eyes fluttering open, only to be greeted by the pitch-black room. What time is it? What happened? Where am I? For a moment, I squint into the darkness, unsure what prematurely dragged me into consciousness. Then, out of the corner of my eye, I spot a looming shadow of a figure, lingering near the door of the room.
What?
My heart leaps into my throat. The rising panic chokes me, like a large hand wrapping itself around my neck. Kicking the blankets off and scrambling to sit up, I nearly roll off the bed. The figure at the door turns its head towards me. Before the scream finds its way out of my mouth, I hear Sebastian's whisper, so low that I can barely hear it.
Huh?
You're awake. My eyes slowly adjust to the lack of lighting, enough for me to realize that the figure belongs to a certain cat familiar of mine. I fall back onto the mattress, relief washing over me and dousing the momentary hysteria. My heartbeat gradually returns to normal, and I let out a loud groan, burying my face into the pillow.
Ziana.
Why did you shift into human form, Sebastien? You scared the life out of me. Quiet. At his barely audible hiss, I lifted my head to arch an eyebrow in disbelief at him. Since when is he so considerate about other people's slumber, especially when he has no qualms about rousing me from mine? It's then that I notice the defensiveness in his stance and the sloppiness in the way he's dressed, as if he's thrown his clothes on in a huge rush. I frown. What happened while I was asleep? Is there some sort of unknown threat? Untangling my legs from the sheets, I slide off the bed. I keep my footsteps as light as possible while making my way over to where Sebastien is standing guard by the door. As I draw closer, the prickling feeling of unease grows stronger, yet I can't pinpoint any cause for it. Right when I'm about to brush it off as unexplained paranoia, I scent a vague trace of death magic outside the room. The trickle of magic essence slinks towards the door, then pulls backwards. It remains lurking in the vicinity without any further movements, as though testing the waters before deciding to lie in wait. Sebastien and I share a look, and I whisper in a hushed tone. What's happening? He mouths something that I can't discern in the darkness. Unfortunately, I don't have time to question him further. The hint of magic increases in intensity, and I sense a spell being cast.
Huh?
No, don't! By then, the last syllable of the incantation has already fallen from my mouth. Although I can't see it from inside my room, I know the barrier has just sprung up on the other side of the door. Though my connection to the barrier... through the connection to the barrier, I could feel my unseen opponent's spell bounce off my shield. In quick succession, I cast another spell, this time a simple attack, directed towards the location where the foreign hint of magic was earlier. Is this gonna be my father? Unfortunately, the caster is already withdrawn immediately, and I fail to land a hit.
What in the name of the 12 deities?
Why did you do that? Well, I wasn't gonna back down like a coward. I had to stand my ground and establish dominance. This is my room, and it was my sleep that they just interrupted. Unforgivable. Sebastien lets out a sigh. He's probably glaring at me, but the effect of his glower is greatly diminished when his face is shrouded by the darkness. I told you to wait so we could draw them inside the room. Then we could find out who it was and what they wanted with the advantage of surprise on our side.
What?
You expect me to see what you were mouthing. I hope you realize I don't have night vision like you. Well, you still should have known better than to act impulsively.
Well...
Are you forgetting something?
Huh?
Sebastien.
You're in human form right now, Sebastien. If you were seen like this, how would we explain it? I refuse to pretend you're a lover that I snuck in. Oh, well, I mean, I wouldn't have any qualms with it. He's adorable. Sebastien, I mean, he's probably like 1,000 years old, but I mean, I wouldn't have a problem with it. Sebastien blinks, surprise flushing across his face, along with what looks suspiciously like... flashing, excuse me, with like a flush. He gives a small cough and turns his head away from me.
What have you done now?
All right, fine. Then tell me, what have you done now? Who did you offend? Why were they probing around your room at night? You've only been here for less than a day. What sort of trouble could you have brought upon yourself already?
Look here.
I didn't do anything. The only people I talked to yesterday were you, Larissa, Jory. I pause. As soon as Jory's name crosses my mind, I'm reminded of that odd fleeting feeling I had in the dining hall yesterday of being watched. Actually, could it be related to Jory?
Jory?
Huh? Jory? The spirit you summoned? What about him? You would know if you hadn't disappeared all day. I even went looking for you, but I had no idea where you were.
Come on.
It wasn't all day. I did return at night, didn't I?
Yes.
But only when it was almost midnight. And then you immediately curled up to sleep. I thought cats are most active during the nighttime. You're one to talk. When are you ever not on the verge of falling asleep day or night? I shrug, not in the slightest bit apologetic. With the adrenaline fading, sleepiness creeps up on me again, and I raise my hand to hide a yawn. Sensing my waning alertness, Sebastien prompts with an urgent look.
What happened?
How is Jory involved in this? I fill Sebastien in on the events of the day before, on the events of the day before, keeping it as brief as I can. Upon hearing the situation, he frowns and narrows his eyes at me. How could you just allow him to stay?
Look here.
It's not as easy dwelling with a spirit. It's not easy dwelling with a spirit. If you're so displeased with how I handled the situation, you could take care of all Jory-related matters from now on. Of course you'd like that. You just can't be bothered and want to pass the responsibility off on me. Would I do that? And to think I respected your opinion enough that I told Jory I needed to discuss the situation with you first. I flash him an innocent smile, but I only receive another look of exasperation in return, as he's clearly unconvinced.
All right.
Well, what are we supposed to do now? I don't know. If the incident just now was related to Jory, then...
Huh?
You believe so?
Oh.
You don't? Sebastien considers for a moment before giving a slow shake of his head.
Why?
I doubt it. Jory looks no different from any living human. Why would anyone jump to the conclusion so quickly that there's a spirit walking amongst them? Especially with the current situation. Even if someone is suspicious of Jory, why would they investigate your room? Just because you were spotted talking to Jory yesterday. He's spoken to plenty of people at the headquarters, hasn't he? The points made by Sebastien sound logical, and I can find no faults with his reasoning, at least in my current half-awake state. Yet something still doesn't quite sit right with me. Is it really merely a coincidence that this happened right after I ran into Jory yesterday afternoon? Besides, I've only been at the headquarters for less than a day. I've hardly done anything to warrant any such reaction from any mage.
Well...
Maybe. Who knows? Sebastien can tell that I'm less than persuaded, and he spreads his arms out in front of him in a helpless gesture. Can't do much anyhow. Not as though we can lock him up to prevent him from running around. His words remind me of Jory's demonstration of how slippery he can be with his unusual spiritual abilities. Realizing the truth of what Sebastien is saying, I can only sigh. Just watch over Jory as much as possible. Make sure he doesn't get himself, or us, into trouble. Sebastien's expression sours, clearly far from thrilled.
Huh?
For the love of the 12 deities, why am I expected to be the one to keep an eye on him? I have to look into the identity of the unknown mage poking their nose around earlier. I don't have time to supervise a spirit. Do you want me to be more associated with him than I already am? Sebastien's mouth parts, but he fails to come up with a retort. Pinching his brows together, he sighs heavily.
All right.
You win. Get some sleep. Whoever it was won't be back tonight after what happened. He's a kitty! In a flash of light, Sebastien shifts back into his cat form. I watch Sebastien strut across the room towards the door, his green eyes glowing in the dark.
Sebastien?
What about you, Sebastien? Where are you going?
You tell me.
What do you think I'm doing? I have a spirit to hunt down. As if venting his frustration, he punches a ball of yarn in his path with his paw, sending it flying across the room. I hide a roll of my eyes. Sometimes I think he was locked in the form of a cat for so long that he's adopted far too many cat-like attributes without realizing it himself.
Right.
Then, good night, Sebastien. And despite everything, sleep finds me easily. The rest of the night passes in peace. I awake to the sound of chattering and laughter from the hallways. Sharp and loud, even through the magic barrier set up by the door.
Ziana.
Can't they keep their voices down? Shielding my eyes against the blinding sunlight streaming through the window, I glance around the room. It seems like Sebastien is yet to return. Good lord. I've been doing this for like 4 hours. Rejoicing in the rare opportunity to laze around in bed without interruptions, I roll onto my side to shift into a more comfortable position. And a small piece of paper on the floor near the door catches my eye. I raise an eyebrow at the sight. When was this slipped under my door? Ziana, please don't tell me it's calling me to another meeting. Mumbling in disgruntlement, I slide off the bed and reach out to grab the note. The Imperial Necromancy Authority extends its sincere thanks to all for heeding the summons. The next meeting shall be held in 5 days in the council room at the headquarters. You will be notified at the time and the date of the meeting closer to the date. Over the course of the next few days, the Chief Commander of the Imperial Necromancy Authority and some officers shall be speaking to each death mage individually. It is but a quick process for the authority to learn more about the difficulties experienced with when summoning spirits. You will be informed when your session is scheduled for the day. Please remain within the headquarters as much as possible in the event that your presence is requested.
Oh.
Thanks, Ziana. Having gleaned the most important bits of the notice, I toss it aside. I finally have a free day to myself. I can hardly believe. This calls for a celebration, in the form of stuffing myself with breakfast until I'm unable to move. Hello, brain. I keep my head down as I head down the hallway, avoiding eye contact, especially with the familiar faces among the crowd that I recognize from my days at the academy. Larissa, what are you wearing? That is, until I catch a familiar flash of purple. I look up to see Larissa walking towards me with a smile.
Hi!
Morning, Callie! Did you sleep well? Remembering the incident in the middle of the night, I can only shrug and dodge her question.
Hey.
Hey, Rissa, are you going for breakfast too?
No.
Nope, I don't have time. I have to head out right away.
Oh.
In this much of a rush? Why?
Oh.
There's an important life mage representative arriving today. Mother sent me to receive him at the teleportation square. Arriving today? I thought everyone's already here.
You know.
Well, he's not really a representative. Do you remember Mr. Videra, the previous chief commander of the Reanimation Authority before my mother, who retired a few years ago? He heard the news from the Nalanshire Crier and decided to join us here. I raise an eyebrow in surprise. Coming back after retirement just to help the mages? Such devotion that I can't comprehend. Instead of giggling as expected, a strange expression appears on Larissa's face. Devotion. I wouldn't call it that. He's an interesting fellow, you'll see. I'd love to stay and talk, but I really need to run. I'll be in so much trouble if I miss his arrival. Catch you later, Callie! With an apologetic smile, she rushes off in the opposite direction. Shaking my head in slight bewilderment, I continue towards the dining hall. Doesn't take long before I enter the dining hall. I head straight for the food, more than ready to dig in. This time, there are no more run-ins with anyone familiar, not even Aldris. Then again, knowing him, he's probably skipped breakfast in favor of his paradise, the headquarters library. 3 trips to the hello, brain. 3 trips to the buffet tables later, my stomach is filled to the brim. I lean back in the chair, letting out a sigh of contentment. As I remain in my seat, resting after the overindulgence of food, the dining hall begins to empty. I glance at the clock hanging on the wall. Lunch won't be served for another 3 hours. What can I do until then? And with this, we're going to end the episode here and get into it next time. So, thank you guys so much for watching. Please leave a like if you enjoyed, because I'm really enjoying this myself, and I keep saying that, but it's really good. This is really good. Once again, all of the links to support the game, or to support the demo and the devs, down below. And please check it all out. Just check it out. Just give it a look-see, because, you know, it helps. It does help, even just to give it a look. And maybe pass it around. Show other people you might, you know, think would enjoy it. But, yes. So, thank you guys so much for watching. Please leave a like if you enjoyed. If you have any questions, comments, feedback, or game suggestions, please feel free to leave them down in the comment section below. And I will see you all in the next one. Bye-bye.